Hello everyone. So this is a video that no one ever wants to make and a subject that no one ever wants to talk about, but it's an important one nonetheless. This is about the Jewish funeral practices and about sitting Shiva. And the reason that I wanted to do this video is because in the past month and a half, I have actually been to 3 Shiva Minyanim. And I have actually dedicated this video. At the end of the video, you'll see who this video is dedicated to the memories of the people that I've had to sit Shiva for recently. So I wanted to talk about what to expect at a Shiva. People sort of culturally know about this idea of Shiva. Jewish characters on TV who have sat Shiva, you've probably seen that. The TV show Weeds is an example. And in movies and things like that, but I don't think people actually understand the importance of this. So I want to go through a few points about it. In this day and age, particularly with sort of do-it-yourself Judaism and unaffiliated people and with independent minyanim, it's important that communities be able to provide this kind of service. There are a lot of unaffiliated Jews. There are a lot of older people who don't belong to synagogues. We tend to think of synagogues as being the old folks kind of thing, but actually that's not true. There are a lot of secular Jews and other people who don't typically join the synagogue. And we need to be able to sit Shiva for these people and provide comfort to mourners. It's a mitzvah to comfort the mourners of Zion. So what to expect? Well, first of all, Jewish people bury very quickly. In Israel, they bury the same day. In the diaspora, and particularly in the United States, they may wait a few days for relatives and other people to get into town, since families don't live as close together as they used to. But nonetheless, they try to bury as quickly as possible. What that means is that you're going to have to sit Shiva on very, very short notice. As an example, last night I sat Shiva for the father of someone who I know who passed away, and I found out about 3 hours before I had to go. It's very, very important to me that everyone out there in the internet world understand how important it is to be able to do things last notice like that. Is it a greater mitzvah? I don't know, but it's more important. A person who has trouble putting together a Shiva Minyan is someone who needs the most help. For a lot of different halakhic reasons, but most importantly because we have to comfort people. And if we don't have those social networks set up in place, then people are going to lose out. We don't want people to lose out on the Jewish tradition. So what's going to be involved? It's going to be involved going to the home, usually of the person who passed away, and you will have their family there. You need to sit with them, let them know that, they have your condolences, let them know if they need anything. Practical help, things like cooking, errands, things like that, that you're there for them, and be sincere that you will take care of them. Give your phone number or email address or whatever you need to do. So that's very, very important. There's a custom to bring food to a Shiva Minyan. In some cases, food is already provided. Some mourners, even though traditionally mourners don't do any kind of work during the mourning process, it's becoming more and more common for there to be food already there. For some people, it's comforting to feed the Shiva Minyan guests. It helps them to feel good. As a matter of fact, the Shiva Minyan I went to last night, the food was already there because the widow got a lot of comfort out of feeding other people. That was her way of connecting. So nevertheless, you need to try to provide as much hospitality as you can. Usually there's a processional type of line for a bigger Shiva Minyan where the mourner will be sitting in a seat and people will line up to give their condolences. And in smaller situations, it'll be a little bit less formal. So part of sitting Shiva is doing the Shiva Minyan, doing the evening service, the Mariv service. I'm going to go through the Mariv service sort of briefly here. There's different ways it can be done. If you are organizing a Shiva Minyan, it's very important to have Jewish ritual items. You need to have siddurim. You need to have kippas for men, or sometimes women like to wear them as well. You can print out copies of the evening service online. I will be posting that very soon so that you can have that. Or you can just gather as many Jewish prayer books as you can, and people can try to get their way through it. Oftentimes synagogues will have boxes of Siddurim that they will lend out to you and things like that. So, but if you're interested in starting a Chevra Kadisha committee to help with things like this, if you want to start a formal network in your community, these are the kinds of investments you need to make, whether it's buying books or having printed copies, paper copies, something like that. So the evening service starts with the Baruch. So if you are the leader, you would start this. You would start with this. Baruch et Adonai hamevorach, and everyone responds, Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed, and then you would repeat, Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. And so different Siddurim have different sort of pieces. This particular Siddur that I'm looking at right here is something that I think is a little bit more English-y. And I think it's actually a Reform book. It seems to be punctuated with a lot of English here. So nevertheless, you would go through these different blessings up until you get to the Shema. So Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And in traditional and conservative communities, Baruch Shem is the next blessing that's said. In Reform communities, that's also said aloud. It's not said silently. The next part is the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'vol nafshecha v'chol modecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzvacha hayom alavevecha v'shinatam levanecha b'dabar tabam b'shivtecha b'techa u'lechlata v'derech uv'shokpacha uv'kumecha uv'pershartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot beinenecha uv'chavtam al muzazot betecha uv'isharecha. And so you'd continue to go through. There's different parts. When you look at different Siddurim, they'll have little, like Siddur Sim Shalom has little white boxes, little empty boxes, and then that tells you as the Chazan where to lead. This doesn't have that, but it would be punctuated with things like Ani Adonai Elohechem. There's some English here and some responsive readings up until Mi Chamocha. So Mi Chamocha Belim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedabar Kodesh, Nora Tehilot, Nora Tehilot, Nora Tehilot, O Sefele. Continue to go through. There's a couple of parts where it punctuates, so it's Adonai Yimlok Le'olam Va'ed and Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. So those two parts in Hebrew tend to be there. Then you have the Reader's Kaddish, which is usually sung the more sing-songy way. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba v'yama divra chirote v'yamlik malchute b'chayechom yolechon u'chaye dekol bet Yisrael Bagala, Bagala, Ubizman Kari, Vimeru, Amen, Yesh me Rabba Mevorak, Yalamo me Almaya, Yitbarak, Yitbarak, Yishtabak, Yitbarak, Romam, Vietnase, Vietzadar, Vietale, Vietalal, Shmedikudisha Brechu, Leilamin Kol Berchata, Vashirata, Tushbechata, Venehemata, Damiran Bealma, Vimeru, Amen. You then go to the Amida. In traditional and in conservative communities, the first part of the Amida, it's actually not part of the Amida itself, but there's a blessing that's said before that. Sometimes Amida will be called the Tefillah. Just depends, again, on the Siddur. Traditional communities, there's a silent prayer. In Reform communities, you may actually say it aloud. So it will be Adonai sifatai tifta ufi yagita hilatecha. Sometimes people will say, Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Typically, with an evening service, you don't read the Amida aloud, but it is in there. And then there's different prayers in the Amida. Different things are added for different days, etc., etc. And then you would basically end at some point with Aleinu. So, Aleinu lishabeach ladon hakol latet gedula yotzer breshit shalo asanu kikol haratzot velo samanu kamishpachot adama shalo samkalkenu kahem vegor aleinu kohol adama vanaknu koriv hu yishtakavim umodim lifnei melech malkei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. There's another part to that. Sometimes in conservative communities you'll hear that. More liberal communities you'll hear, they'll skip over that, and that may just be the end. Or sometimes it will end with V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lamelech hakol haaretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. There is some blessings that can be said before the mourner's Kaddish, or you can move immediately into mourner's Kaddish. The mourner is not the leader. So the Kaddish is led, essentially, by the mourner. Now, putting all halakha aside, in terms of reality, some mourners may be so choked up and so emotional that they can't get through it on their own. I think it's more than fair for someone in the community to help them along. Particularly if there's one mourner, let's say it's a child who's lost a parent and the other parent has passed away, things like that. But in any case, you would then do the mourner's Kaddish, the Kaddish again. I'm not going to repeat it, because we've already said it. After that, you want to find out from the mourner how long they'd like you to stick around, if there's anything you can do to help. Generally, a memorial service where people sit and they talk about the mourner can be done before the actual minyan is done. Sometimes that's done afterwards. One Shiva Minyan I went to, everyone came and ate. Then we did the sort of the memorial, the kind of round table, everyone talking about this particular person. After that, there was more food, and then the minyan was done, the davening was done. The Shiva that I went to last night, food was there. We sat with the mourner, and the mourner talked, and then we had the minyan there, and then people stuck around after that. So there's different communities do things different ways, but the key thing that I want to stress here is that in a world of unaffiliated post-denominational Judaism, and particularly in areas where there are no rabbis or para-rabbinic leaders, where people are more on an equal level in terms of educational ability, there needs to be one person in your community who knows how to do all of this. Now, I've only covered a small piece of this. If you're interested in learning more, if you're interested in setting up this kind of service in your community, please email me, patrick@punctora.org. I can give you a lot better resources. I can slow down the service so that you can learn it. This is just a taste of what you need to be able to do. But this needs to be done. This is something that independent communities and unaffiliated people and places where there are no synagogues or rabbis, this kind of chesed, this kind of love needs to be spread. So thank you for watching this video.